March 2025 over the hostile skies of Yemen. The most advanced fighter jet on Earth, a machine designed to be invisible, untouchable, suddenly finds itself in a nightmare scenario. A surface-to-air missile is tracking, getting closer. The pilot has seconds to react. One wrong move, and an $80 million stealth fighter becomes another statistic in a war zone most Americans have never heard of. This is the story of how the impossible nearly happened, and how one pilot's split-second decision changed everything. To understand how we got here, you need to know three things: the F-35 Lightning II, the Houthi rebels of Yemen, and Operation Rough Rider. The F-35 is no ordinary aircraft. From the front, the F-35's radar signature is about the size of a golf ball, dramatically smaller than conventional fighters. Its design incorporates advanced materials, radar-absorbing coatings, and internal weapons bays specifically engineered to minimize radar reflections. It's supposed to slip through enemy air defenses like a ghost. But every technological marvel has a weakness. The F-35's stealth is highly effective against shortwave radars. But VHF radars operating at longer wavelengths present a significant challenge, as the aircraft's dimensions become comparable to the wavelength, causing electromagnetic resonance. Now, the Houthis. When the Houthis took control of Yemen in 2014, they seized Soviet-era surface-to-air missile systems, including tracked SA-6 systems capable of engaging high-flying aircraft. The Yemeni militants have stocks of infrared-guided missiles repurposed for surface-to-air use, and Sakr-series infrared homing missiles with loitering capability. They've turned scrap into deadly weapons. Operation Rough Rider was launched on March 15, 2025, an enhanced bombing campaign against the Houthis. American forces were about to learn a hard lesson about underestimating your enemy. The mission brief was straightforward: strike Houthi weapons storage facilities deep in hostile territory. For the F-35 pilot, whose identity remains classified, this wasn't their first combat sortie, but it would be their most terrifying. The aircraft launched from the USS Harry S. Truman Carrier Strike Group, stationed in dangerous waters off the Yemeni coast. The Houthis had attacked U.S. warships over 170 times and commercial vessels 145 times since 2023. This wasn't a training exercise. This was a war zone where the enemy had already proven they could hit back. As the F-35 penetrated Yemeni airspace, the pilot relied on the aircraft's greatest asset: invisibility. Or so they thought. What the pilot didn't know was that the Houthis had been studying American tactics for years. They'd learned to hunt stealth aircraft without ever turning on a radar. The Houthis use infrared sensors for target detection and tracking, which are passive in nature and don't emit radar signals that would alert an aircraft to danger. While the F-35's radar-absorbent skin could fool traditional air defenses, it couldn't hide the jet's heat signature, the infrared energy bleeding from its single Pratt & Whitney engine. Somewhere below, a Houthi air defense crew was watching, waiting. The militants possessed SA-6 systems and Iranian-supplied infrared-guided missiles, forming a patchwork but deadly air defense network. Then it happened: launch. Inside the cockpit, the F-35's threat warning system erupted. A surface-to-air missile was in the air, and it was tracking. According to a U.S. official, the missile got close enough that the F-35 pilot had to take evasive maneuvers. This was unprecedented. The F-35 was supposed to be untouchable. In modern air combat, pilots measure survival in seconds. The missile was supersonic, traveling faster than the speed of sound. The F-35, loaded with precision-guided munitions for the strike mission, was suddenly in a fight for survival. The pilot had three options, and all of them were terrible. Option 1: deploy countermeasures. flares and chaff designed to confuse infrared and radar guidance systems. But there was no guarantee they'd work against this particular threat. Option 2. Outrun it. The F-35 can reach speeds of Mach 1.6, but acceleration takes time the pilot didn't have. Option 3. Outmaneuver it. Pull the aircraft into extreme high-G turns that would push the pilot to the edge of consciousness. Force the missile to try to follow. Hope it runs out of energy first. The pilot chose option 3. What happened next would be analyzed by military strategists for years to come. The F-35, despite being designed primarily for stealth and sensor fusion rather than dogfighting, is still a highly capable aircraft. The pilot threw the jet into a series of violent defensive maneuvers, rapid direction changes, altitude variations, chaff deployment, anything to break the missile's lock. Modern surface-to-air missiles are smart. They predict where the target will be, not where it is. The pilot had to be unpredictable. Experts noted it would have been an absolute disaster if the U.S. military had lost one of its advanced and costly F-35s to the Houthis. The propaganda value alone would have been catastrophic. Images of a downed American stealth fighter in rebel hands would have circulated globally within hours. For several agonizing seconds, the outcome hung in the balance. Then, the missile detonated. Not a direct hit, but close. Too close. The F-35 shuddered from the proximity blast, but stayed airborne. The pilot immediately aborted the mission and egressed from hostile airspace at maximum speed. Ground-based intelligence confirmed the missile had passed within what military officials would only describe as extremely close range. Against all odds, the pilot had survived. The F-35 had survived, but the illusion of invincibility? That died over Yemen. The incident remained classified for weeks. When it finally leaked to the press, it sent shockwaves through the Pentagon, military. Analysts raised questions about whether the F-35 can survive a more intense form of combat if it struggled against the Houthis' relatively basic air defenses. Operation Rough Rider was ultimately halted on May 8, 2025, after costing over $1 billion and involving more than 100 strikes. The F-35 incident was part of a broader pattern. During the operation, the Houthis also came close to hitting several F-16 aircraft, and the USS Harry S. Truman lost 3 F-A-18 Super Hornets to various incidents. The air campaign was proving far costlier and riskier than anticipated. Defense experts noted that in a war with China, the F-35's mission would be destroying advanced air defense systems with long-range weapons before being detected, not conducting ongoing campaigns against dispersed targets. Yemen had revealed a tactical misuse of America's premier stealth fighter, but perhaps the most important lesson was this. Infrared sensors and longer-range anti-air missiles with infrared seekers are becoming increasingly common in hostile air defense systems, and they will be networked into larger integrated air defense systems, where they can help cue radars to stealthy targets. The age of absolute stealth supremacy may be ending. The pilot who evaded that Houthi missile will never speak publicly about what happened. Their name, their face, their story, all remain classified. But their split-second decision in the skies over Yemen represents something larger. Modern warfare is no longer about overwhelming technological superiority alone. It's about adaptation, unpredictability, the human element in an age of machines. The F-35 program has cost American taxpayers over $1.7 trillion across its lifetime. It's the most expensive weapon system in history. And yet, a militia using improvised air defenses and decades-old technology nearly brought one down. This isn't a story about failure. It's a story about humility. The pilot who flew that mission understood something that every warrior throughout history has known. No weapon, no matter how advanced, makes you invincible. Survival depends on skill, instinct, and sometimes pure luck. As you go about your day, somewhere above hostile territory, another pilot is strapping into another F-35. They're carrying the lessons of Yemen with them. They know the enemy is watching, adapting, learning, and they know that the next time a missile lock warning screams in their cockpit, they might not be so lucky. This is the reality of modern air combat, where even the impossible can become necessary, where survival is measured in seconds, and where one pilot's courage can make all the difference. Until next time, stay vigilant.